What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Lobbing Scorchers. We're recording this on a Tuesday evening here in Seattle. And Noah, we're about to lay down this draw pod. How are you feeling?
Feeling all right, Ari. It was a concerning match, to say the least, but not one that broke my spirit. Sounders still have a win streak and
Unbeaten streak, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry, my bad. We gotta qualify that.
It's still a streak.
It's still a streak. We're still streaking, Ari. We're streaking all over Seattle.
The Seattle Sounders took a little road trip down to the thriving metropolis of Commerce City, Colorado, and they came back with a point, a 1-1 draw. We had another Moose goal. There was another Jesus Ferreira assist. There was a KKR assist. Unfortunately, as you referenced there, Jordan Morris went out with another hamstring injury. We're going to talk about all that in our game review. We're going to hit our agenda check. And Noah, I think we also might have the greatest blazing hot coach press conference week in Lobbing Scorchers history. There have been some good ones. It's definitely the best one we've had so far this year, to the point where I had to feature 3 coaches.
Wow.
From MLS this week.
You put in the deep dive, the work.
I mean, yeah, they delivered so much good content. So really excited to get to that. You know how much we love a blazing hot coach press conference here. And we're going to hit some of the other results from match day 10 in MLS. Before we get to all that, though, I do have to let you all know that Lobbing Scorchers is a part of the Sounder at Heart podcast network. If you want to get the best independent Seattle soccer coverage, consider supporting us by going to sounderatheart.com/LS. Noah, what's that link?
Sounderatheart.com/LS.
Scroll down to subscribe and support to get 30 days completely free. Every sign up through our link helps support and grow this show. The road to 100 Sounder at Heart subs is alive and well, and now more than ever, it's a great time to become a member with the season in full swing. Do we have any new subs to thank?
No new subs, Ari, but we are literally 2 subs away from 90. And it's just like, it's always been my dream to have 90 people come on board as Sounder at Heart members because of us. That's been my, that's all we started this podcast for, was to get 90 people to sign up for Sounder at Heart.
Why don't we set a goal before next week's pod to get to 89?
Yeah,
I think that's a reasonable goal.
So Ari, how would they sign up?
Just go to sounderatheart.com/LS.
Scroll down to subscribe and support. It's easy as that.
Shout out to our sponsors: Hacks and Ferments, Podium Menswear, Full Pull Wines, My Data Removal, and Body Spec. Sub to the channel, like the video, rate 5 stars, all that good stuff. Before we get into the show, we also did want to mention ECS co-president Tom Bureau has been hospitalized after an accident. So we wanted to say that our thoughts and best wishes are with Tom. And there is a GoFundMe to help raise funds for his medical costs. We're going to drop the link in our description. We really encourage everyone to donate to that. And Noah, we kicked 50 towards that. Yep. So please visit that GoFundMe link in the description and help Tom out, please.
Yeah, and if you want to leave a super chat or something below here, we'll donate all of those proceeds as well. We seriously wish Tom and his family the best, and are hoping for a good recovery. And regardless, we want you guys to help out, because medical costs are terrible because we live in the United States of America. So go help out a fellow Sounders fan and someone who does the work day in and day out to make match day experiences amazing for everyone.
Well said. All right, Noah, let's get into this. Let's get into this draw pod. Seattle Sounders 1, Colorado Rapids 1, and let's do our lineup reaction first. Noah, there was the whole debate, the hot hand debate versus the put the starters back in debate.
Yep.
And Brian Schmetzer rode the hot hand
because he listens to us.
Yeah, exactly. He listens to us. That's what I think. I think we both advocated for that. I know I advocated for that. Both because I think it's good to reward the team that just got a great result and try and keep rolling with that, but also because guys like Jordan Morris and Albert Rusnak we're not 90 fit. So it made perfect sense to me to give this lineup at least an hour and then get into the subs and getting the guys coming back from injury back on. But what was interesting about this game was that the lineup made sense, the starting lineup for the first half. But Schmetz actually made the changes one change at least at halftime of this game, with Jordan Morris coming on for Moose. And with how that game ended, that's been generating a lot of discussion. So we're going to talk about that. But as far as just the starting lineup, Noah, I mean, do you have any thoughts or takes on what was going through your mind when you saw it?
I was glad that Brian played the hot hand. I thought that was really smart, especially with the bench you have. And in my mind, before, obviously I can't see the future, so I can't see Jordan getting injured, but my thought was it's good to give him a little bit more rest as much as he can get back to being fit while still getting a few minutes here or there. I was glad Moose was playing well. He wasn't playing amazing through the first half, but when he finished that second half, he looked like, he should keep playing. And I liked that Rothrock was playing. I liked that KKR was getting on the field and getting minutes. I thought those guys who you can just run and run and run and run in Colorado, that's always something good. You want to be able to keep up with them. And then if the altitude starts to get to people, they literally had a full starting squad on the bench that they could bring on. I thought it was great, like game state management, tactical management. And I think initially in my post-game reaction, I said, why would you sub off Moose? Why would you do all of that? Hindsight's 2020. I think the reality was they were trying to get Jordan more minutes, get him back fit, and see if they couldn't get another goal. So it's a hindsight 2020 thing, but I was glad that the lineup looked like it did.
It's a tough balance, right? Because you do need to get Jordan and Rusnak back fit. But I think you could definitely argue that the lineup that started the game should have gotten more run into the second half. But like you said, I can see the flip side of that as well. Let's talk about the key moments from this game. I thought this game got off to a pretty shaky start for Seattle for the first probably half hour. Colorado had a couple really good chances early. There was the one in the 5th minute where Christian Roldan had to clear a header off the line off a Colorado corner kick, which that kind of became a theme in this game. The set piece defending wasn't great. Colorado was doing a good job on their delivery and getting those looks, but it happened, I think, 4 times where they sent a corner kick in and it ended up with like a pretty clean header.
Yeah.
So there was that one early where Christian was just Johnny on the spot, cleared that one off the line, but that was pretty close to being a goal.
I think in his post game, he literally said, yeah, I was just happened to be the guy who was there.
Yeah, exactly. And then Cole Bassett, just a minute later, I think had a header over the bar. So early on in the game, I mean, they were absorbing some pressure. Colorado was cooking on their set pieces as they do. But life is like that in a Western Conference road match at altitude. Sometimes it's just all about if you can absorb that pressure without conceding or letting the game get away from you. And so, to Seattle's credit, they were able to do that despite not really having super great control of the game state and conceding a few chances. And they had some good looks of their own as well. I think the most notable one I thought that I wrote down was the one from Obed to Rothrock, where Obed, remember he passed it back across to Rothrock running on. I thought that was a good chance. KKR, I want to say, had the kind of shot cross, which people were saying he was meant to cross it, but just put it in there, Yeah. So
you never know what's going to happen, folks.
Exactly. That's what I like about KKR. He makes stuff happen.
He's explosive.
I thought the chance generation in the first half and really through this whole game, I thought the chance generation was actually pretty good. That wasn't the issue in this game. The issue in this game that ended up being the pitfall, I thought, was the defending. But as far as the attacking movements and how the offense was running and the chances they were generating, I thought there was some pretty good stuff. And in the 45th minute, another Moose goal. It was I think it was the first.
Him.
Yeah, you can't stop Moose.
You can't.
You can only hope to contain Moose.
It's just what happens when you let a wild animal out of their cage. Okay, he was riding the bench. He was belittled by pundits. I don't know who, because it wasn't me. He was shot down, tranquilized, locked in a cage. And you know what happens, Ari? Animals don't belong in zoos. They belong out there on the pitch.
Yeah, no, this was another really good Moose goal. Really great team goal, starting with the secondary assist from Jesus Ferreira. Excellent pass to spring KKR. And then KKR, really good stuff to run onto that ball and send in accurate cross at pace that Moose is able to just put in the back of the net. And it's another one of those finishes from Moose that I think he made it look easier than it actually was.
Yeah.
But credit to him for converting that. You know what I like about the goals that they're scoring right now, Noah, is they're coming from sequences of play that are repeatable and sustainable as they move forward in the season here. It's not like they're just nicking set pieces or scoring against the run of play when the other team is dominating them the whole time. They're moving the ball well. Ferreira, that through ball is beautiful. And it's just a great team goal. So it was good to see them get another one of those in a sequence in the last few weeks where they've been able to get a lot of goals like that.
Yeah, I also wanted to note that I thought Ferreira was playing well, and I thought that it was cool too that KKR in the postgame said, me and Moose have literally been talking about this exact play. He was like, I knew that he was going to be there because I said, if I get the ball out wide, I'm going to look for you. Where are you going to be? And Moose said, I'm going to be here. And he was there, and he made that finish. And I think, to how harsh some people have been about Danny Musovski, he is a space merchant. Like, he knows the field. He's good at getting into the space where you expect him to be. And I think that is an asset. He's not a Jordan Morris. He's not a Raul Ruiz, but he is a guy who, in a setup like this where you have someone like Jesus Ferreira who can set up that great play, hell yeah, it works.
It's nice to see Moose get rewarded for being in those spots because truthfully, he's been doing that the entire time that he's been on the team. He just hasn't been finishing the chances. So it's good that he's finally finishing the chances, and the team really needs it right now with Jordan Morris being injured. And another thing is, for all the consternation and blazing hot discourse surrounding Jesus Ferreira, which I get, we've been a part of it. The guy's up to 5 assists and I think 7 assists across all comps, and 5 of them are primary. So it's not like he's been a merchant of the secondary assists, but also, this secondary assist was, that's a world-class dime. So he needs to start scoring goals. We all want him to start scoring goals. We'll see if he does start scoring goals. But he's been legitimately productive as a facilitator. Like, you can take that for whatever it's worth, but he is getting on the stat sheet. So
some people were saying that it's so clear that he is so much better at the 10 than Rusnak. And I thought it was Brigade. It was Brigade. Let me preface by saying it was Brigade. But it is an interesting point. He has been performing, though Albert, again, he has 5 goals plus assists, and Jesus has 3 assists, 5 if you count secondary assists. So, and I don't know what Albert's secondary assist numbers look like, but that's, I think it is to say that he plays really well in that position. But I don't know. I think Albert's still your number one.
I don't even think we need to pit them against each other like that. I think.
Albert, we're gonna have that whole discussion, huh?
We'll get to it later. But I think Albert got off to a pretty good start to the season, like you said, 5 goal contributions. He got injured, and Ferreira has looked a lot better playing that position since he's been playing it.
Right.
But I think, realistically, they both played it at high levels at different points in the season.
Sure. That's the hot hand mentality, man. I'm telling you, this could be the way that they could grind out this season and play super well, is just playing whatever hand is working right now.
Let's talk about the subs in this game. Like I mentioned, there was Jordan for Moose right at half, which I think that's the one people are questioning in the hindsight, both because of how the game panned out and then the situation with Jordan getting injured. And, I can see why Schmetz handled it the way that he did, because, you need to get Jordan a good run to get him back fit. But what I would say with the benefit of hindsight is that even if you have a planned substitution like that, which actually, did you see Moose's interview at practice?
No.
He was saying that he wasn't told until halftime, and then that part of the reason that he got subbed out was because he was on a yellow. So that that kind of goes against what I think everyone assumed about it, which is that Schmetz went into this like, all right, I'm going to give Moose the first half, Jordan the second half. Apparently, that was not the case. But either way, I mean, I don't know.
But it's a striker. What's he going to get, another yellow?
I don't know if I understand like pulling Moose for being on a yellow because I think you can
really
I
ridiculous.
think you can trust Moose to make it to 60 without getting sent off. He's a veteran player.
Well, I mean,
but
I don't know if he's a veteran.
I think Moose?
Yeah, he's still
like
young.
His sixth MLS season or something. He's
okay.
Definitely a vet.
I thought he was like 27 or something.
No, Moose is 29.
He's 29? He looks good. I thought he was younger. Shit.
But like I think based on how the game was going, I didn't like I said, I thought the first half was honestly a little shaky for most of it. They were under pressure, conceding a fair amount of chances. But then towards the end of the half, they grew into the game a little bit and they got the goal and they got the lead. It's easy to say with hindsight, but I was advocating for Moose 60, Jordan 30 the whole time.
Right.
I think even if you want to make that sub at half, you can be like, all right, that it looked a little better at the end of the half when we got the goal. We can ride this for a little longer.
Yeah.
And when you throw in the fact that Jordan, it seems like re-aggravated his hamstring at the end, that seems like it might have been an even better option. I do recognize that is, Monday morning quarterbacking.
Sure.
But
that's what we do on this show.
Yeah,
Ari.
exactly.
That is our job.
Exactly. We are the Monday morning quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So.
It is, hearing now that from the Moose's mouth, that it was because he was on a yellow, that honestly makes me change my thoughts on like what I said earlier about it kind of makes sense to give Jordan more run, whatever, that makes sense. That's a little harsh, don't you think, to not think that Moose couldn't keep his head for another 20 or 30 minutes and that this official was going to send him off? And
I don't think the implication was that the yellow was like the sole full reason and it was like punitive, like you got a yellow and you might get sent off, like we're going to pull you now. I think it was more like totality of the situation of like, we want to get Jordan a good sustained run, not like a 10-minute cameo. Moose is on a yellow, like we got the lead. Let's just do it at half. Just to make sure all the bases are covered or whatever. I don't think the yellow was the only thing, but Moose mentioned it as a factor for sure at practice.
That's wild to me. That's wild to me because I don't know. At 1-0, you're not closing out the game. The game's not done. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and you have
exactly.
A guy,
like that's not a big enough lead to sit on.
Yeah, you have Jordan coming in. We know how Jordan Morris plays. He needs a little bit of momentum. And that's why you play him, right? That's why you would bring him in and give him sustained minutes. But you're on 1-0 and you have a guy who just scored going into half. It was
scored for
working.
3 straight games.
Scored for 3 straight games. It was working. What you had out there was working in the closing minutes. I don't really understand that then. If that was a big part of your calculus was you're on a yellow and we want to play this guy and we're up 1-0, so it's fine. We just need to close out the game. Unless you're like, we're cool with the draw, which, yeah, sure, I'm cool. I'm cool with the draw in Colorado. But
well, yeah, I would say, Jordan isn't like a close out the game type sub. I think Schmetz said in his availability that they were subbing Jordan on with the obvious hope of getting another goal. Right. So I don't think it was like we're going to pack it in and try and sit on this 1-0 the rest of the half type situation.
But he's not a super subs scorer like that.
Well, but you're in a situation where he's not starting because he's coming back from injury and you're trying to get him fit. So you're trying to balance those two things. And I don't know, maybe if maybe Schmetz would redo that one now that we know how it it panned out, because I guess I just kind of think in any situation where you close the half with some momentum like that, you're better served to at least start the half.
Yeah, you couldn't give him 10.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people have been pointing that out, and I think it's a fair point. The other subs in this game were, and this is the one that Nico was telling me on kickoff yesterday that he had more of an issue with was Rusnak for De La Vega on
agree.
55.
I agree.
Which, again, you're trying to get Rusnak minutes, give him run, get him fit. But De La Vega, he is one of, if not the most dangerous player on the team. So should he have subbed De La Vega out that early? I mean, with De La Vega, there's the fitness issues as well. But Schmetz said today that, or maybe it was yesterday, Schmetz said, though, that it wasn't necessarily fitness related. I think it was more related to getting Rusnak some run. Yeah. So that's another one that people were questioning. And then rolled on for KKR also on 55, when KKR was balling.
Yeah,
so,
he was playing great.
Yeah.
I guess, this is what's great about our job is we get to be 2-3 days removed from all of this, and I can make
knowing
a second,
the outcome of it. Yeah.
Yeah. But like those are some really brutal, while I will say if I put myself in Brian Schmetzer's shoes, they are realistic in the moment, especially with the idea that this is not a single game season. You have to get these players worked
and
back
I think
in.
that's what he would point out.
Right. And so like I can totally respect that. And also because I'm a pundit and I can say whatever I want without recourse, I just don't thinking about it right in this moment. I'm like, damn, that is a momentum killer, especially for me, the Rusnak for De La Vega swap, because not only do you neuter De La Vega because he's not on the field, you also neuter the one and only secondary assist god, Jesus Ferreira. Okay, because we know they can't play together. All right, maybe they can in the future.
Hold this. We're gonna get to that.
But you neuter that. So that sub in itself, I kind of agree with Nico, and free my boy KKR. I don't know. Alex Rodon played fine though.
Yeah, he was fine.
So
we did get another Ryan Kent cameo. He came on for Ferreira in the 71st, so that was cool.
He looked good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I continue to enjoy watching him play, and I'm intrigued and excited to see what he can do moving forward as he gets more minutes. With Jordan being out for the at least the short term here, I think we're going to start to see him get more and more run, and so that's exciting. I like his style.
Yeah.
I like what I'm seeing out there so far. I think so far it's kind of living up to what we had envisioned, like at least in the preliminary phases, as far as like a player who's going to bring energy and flair and sauce out there. Like you see all that stuff, and hopefully he can build on this and get some more minutes.
It's awesome too, because he's kind of doing the thing that we hoped Jesus Ferreira would do, which is just like step in, be kind of dominant, but like be super interesting and cool, and not really strong. Like just kind of plug and play. He's kind of just, judging off of a combined 30 minutes.
If that, it's like 20.
Like, yeah, like he...
Or I guess he went 20 in the... Yeah, 30.
30-ish. Yeah. Like, yeah, dude, he looks kind of sick as hell. He looks like he's just going to rock, and he's just going to play off of whoever, and that he's just that kind of good, and he might... Like I've been saying, he's the greatest player to touch grass. Someone corrected me and said, it should be the greatest player to touch turf, which... Greatest player to touch turf.
Touché.
Officially. Ryan Kent, that's your new nickname.
Let's talk about the Rapids equalizer. They get level on 54 off a set piece. Georgi Mihailovic. So Ymar fouls the guy right near the top of the area, and the Sounders set up their wall, and they don't put the guy laying down like some teams do. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. This was a Mihailovic cooked here.
This was fire.
This was like a high IQ.
He literally
play.
He tells the like if you watch the clip, he sees it. He's got his binoculars on. He's watching all of the like discussion. He can tell that they're disjointed and nothing's said. It's a little bit hurried. He walks over to the guy standing next to him, covers his mouth, tells him literally what he's gonna do, and then rips it. And it's like, okay, dude, you're just like actually really good at soccer. Like, what are you gonna do there?
So what the Sounders expected him to do was try and put it over the wall, and he knew what they were thinking. And instead of trying to put it over, he just rolled it right under and right into the net. Like just a money finish and just a smart play. There was talk about whether they should have put the guy lying down, which is something I feel like you don't really see Seattle do
They don't
a lot.
do
Yeah,
that.
they don't
'Cause
do that.
it looks stupid.
But I mean, that's that kind of situation is theoretically why you do it. Like if
Maybe
they had
against
the
Messi.
guy there. I mean, maybe apparently it would have worked against Mihailovic
Well, if they just
right
wouldn't
there.
have jumped. Here's
They were
what.
supposed to tippy toe it.
Yeah, so in Brian Schmetzer's post-game presser, he was asked about this, and Brian said, "Oh, well, they weren't supposed to jump. I don't know what they were doing. That's my fault. I should have been more clear about that in training. They're just supposed to go on their tippy toes. So if they don't go on their tippy toes, or if they just go on their tippy toes and don't jump, he can't slide that ball under. You don't have to worry about that." He's saying it's just so hard to get the arc on the ball, and you basically have to score in the top corner of the net. And at that point, you're going to score anyway, so it doesn't matter.
They all went Vince Carter. They
They were balling. They were basketballing.
They were jumping out of the building.
They were going Space Jam, Ari.
And he
Space Jam Alien.
he rolled it right on. I respect the play. Like that's a good, really smart play.
Well, it reminds me of on the Charlotte game, that corner that they had, that really well designed corner. It was like people were freaking out about it. And I'm like, dude, sometimes set pieces are just so well designed.
Sometimes the other team just they get you.
Yeah, you can be mad at Yamar for the dumb foul. Yamar had a terrible game. I mean, that's about as clear as it gets. He was all over the place. But other than that, it's like you kind of just got to look at that and be like, that's soccer, man. That's pretty.
Yeah, so it was 1-1, and I thought, the game still stayed pretty back and forth, pretty entertaining for the rest of it, as far as like both teams had their chances at the winner. But for Seattle, everything kind of got overshadowed when Jordan came off with the injury. The doubly unfortunate thing about it was that it happened on a sequence where he was making a great run.
Yeah,
you're like, all right, he's back, and he pulls up with the. We haven't. I'm not sure if it's a re-aggravation, but I imagine that's what it is. So
we are not medical doctors.
We're not doctors.
We will not speculate.
But typically, in my experience, a hamstring like that's at least 2 to 4. So we'll have to see.
Another one. But thank you.
But Schmetzer gave an update at training today, and he said that they took the MRI, but that they're going to have to take another one. And it was actually kind of a weird exchange because the first thing he said was like they took the MRI and they didn't like what they saw, so they need to take another one. And Jeremiah was like, just to clarify, like, what do you mean by didn't like what they saw? And he was like, they literally like couldn't tell.
It was too blurry.
It was like too blurry for them to tell.
It was like Ari trying to take a picture.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like they put Ari on the MRI machine and he was like, dude, I don't fucking, what button do I press again?
Exactly. But so it's not like necessarily like they're taking a follow-up one because they think it could be really bad or something. They literally like couldn't see what they needed to see. So they're going to take another one, and then we should know more about the severity. Schmetzer did say after the game that Jordan doesn't think it's that bad, but he's not a doctor either. I mean, his dad is, so maybe he has a better feel on that than the average layman. But even in a best case scenario, I imagine he'd be out for at least a couple weeks. So that sucks. But at least Moose is in good form. At least Ryan Kent is working his way into the mix here. And Moose is suddenly the most important player on this team, because if Moose isn't in there playing
Moose
the 9,
preyed on this fucking moment.
Like they don't have a clear plan B if Moose is to not play.
De
right
Rosario kid who is not ready for
and
MLS
false 9
minutes.
Ferreira. That's
and
it.
false 9 Ferreira. Yeah, like the state of the 9 spot is chalked, folks. It's a little.
Well, it's not chalked because you got Moose.
Yeah, I mean the state of the
behind Moose,
the recession play. I don't, dude. I'm not a linguist.
We'll see what they do in a situation because Moose is not going to be able to play full 90 every single game.
No,
so
he's gonna.
But they're going to be riding the Moose train.
And you know what? Let's say something. That's okay. It's fine in the form that he's in right now. That's great. It's working. Like I'm not worried. I'm really not.
I'm definitely not nearly as worried as I would have been like earlier this season. Moose is balling right now. He's scoring goals. So let's hope he keeps doing that.
I can finally see it, Ari. My Rothrock at the 9. I can see it in the corner of my eye. I can see it potentially happening.
They tried Georgie, so why not?
Georgie at the 9 was a Oh boy.
Rothrock at the 9 is like it's not even a bit for me. Like I would be down to see that.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
he knows that space well. I've seen him his hold up play and all that. I like it. I don't know. Brian, you can hire me as a coach. I'm telling you.
Well, Lobbing Scorchers put Rothrock at the 9 all
That's
day.
true. We put him anywhere, dude. Put him at the GK spot. He's saving at least 4 goals.
I thought Seattle's best chance of the second half was in the 81st when Rusnak had that volley that was just wide.
Yeah.
On our post-game show, we had people in chat talking about he has to finish that. He has to finish that. I think that's a pretty high degree of difficulty on that shot. That's one of those where you take that and you just pray, and we've seen him make goals like that, like the equalizer against San Jose was not the exact same type of shot, but I would say a similar degree of difficulty.
He was a really smart soccer play too.
He didn't miss it by much, and I think it would have been an insane goal if he had scored that.
Well, and also you can't say that and praise it'd be like, oh well, why'd you switch Jesus out from that position, and then not mention the fact that Jesus Ferreira, the ball that he missed in this game is still orbiting the earth. Like he missed a shot so bad that NASA is now tracking it as an asteroid. So
he skied another one. He did that in Champions League too. Now he did this one, which is definitely it's a little confounding because Noah, you and I more than most have watched Jesus Ferreira a lot in his career, dating back to his FC Dallas days.
Even.
Yeah, how many times have we seen him score goals like that? A lot, often. So, but that to me indicates that I've said this before about guys like Abear and been burned before, but I think that's going to even out, and he's going to at least start putting shots like that on target.
He's got the yips.
There's maybe he might have the yips a little bit right now, but there's enough of a track record of him hitting those that I feel like he's just in a little bit of a wayward finishing funk right now, and that if it evens out to his career baseline or norms, he should start banging in some goals. We'll see if that happens. It might be a 0 goal, 15 assist type season from
that's still
Jesus
production,
Ferreira,
though.
but he's literally on pace. That's what he's on pace for right now is 0 and 17. So if he did that would be weird,
that's
but it would be sick.
Listen, he is a good finisher at the end of the day, and you can even
people are gonna mock you for saying that.
I don't care, man. You don't score
fact.
50 goals in a league. The league hasn't changed that much in that period of time. Like he scored 50. He was the youngest player to ever score 50 goals in this league.
He can score goals.
You can't tell me that it's impossible. Right now, look at Moose, right? Moose wasn't scoring. Moose was looking and playing poorly. I think we can say that. And he found his rhythm. He found his stride. He's a momentum player. Strikers are momentum. Jordan does the same thing. He'll have stretches where he doesn't score, and then he finds the back of the net, and guess what? He gets really hot and goes and goes and goes. When he finds his footing, he's gonna be fine. Mark my words. You can call me out for that. At the end of the season, if he doesn't have at least 3 goals,
3 setting the bar real high.
5. You can yell at me at the end of the season if he doesn't have 5.
Yeah, I don't want to necessarily platform the vocal minority or make it seem like there's more this take is more widespread than it actually is. I don't think a lot of people actually think this.
No.
But we got another Jesus is literally bad comment on our YouTube, and I'm just like, how can you watch the pass he made to KKR on the goal sequence and then be like, that guy is bad at this?
Yeah, he should not play.
I don't know.
They don't know ball, Ari. They don't know ball.
There's some lack of ball knowledge involved with that. And
there's lack of belief.
Lack of ball knowledge in our YouTube comments quite frequently, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I'm on this podcast, so that really doesn't that.
Exactly. It's fair. All right, let's talk about the officiating controversies in this game, of which there were multiple, but two in particular. Mm-hmm. So let's start with the Colorado one, because that the one that happened before it kind of ties into it, into the narrative. So what happened was Rapid striker Rafael Navarro was going up for a ball in the air against Yamar, and right as he got the header on frame, the referee called him for a foul for pushing Yamar over. The ball goes in, the whole stadium goes crazy. The Rapids think that they scored. The foul was whistled before the shot went in. The goal is waved off, and the Colorado Rapids were not happy about that. All right, let's just talk about this call. This is a 50-50 call. Like you can see this called both ways. I've been saying I think it was a bad call, but like realistically, you can defend the foul being called. Here's why I don't like calls like this, Noah, which is that like just in general in soccer, like the defense already has so many advantages. The guy defending the goal is allowed to use his hands.
Yeah.
That's a huge advantage.
Yeah.
And
I can't pick the ball up?
Yeah.
What?
It's so hard to score goals in this game where like I don't know if he pushed him. Like I could see how it looked like
he went down easy.
Ymar might have sold it a little bit, but what I didn't like about it is, and I'm trying to think of this, like the way I think of it is like if a Seattle player got called for that same foul, would I be pissed? I would have been pissed.
Yeah.
I would have been pissed. I would have been like, that is so ticky-tack. He didn't extend is the thing. He might have used his hands to like give himself like a platform to go up and get the header. Maybe Ymar goes down, but I didn't think he extended enough for it to be like to wave off a goal like that. So that's my just take on that. Do you have what do you think of that call?
This goal stands in MLS 1.0 Ari. This goal stands in MLS 2.0 Ari. This goal stands in all the physical versions of MLS, but
it got waved off because of woke.
There you go. Yeah, we've gotten soft and woke as a refereeing organization. I don't know. It was funny though to me because I mean I'm sure as you'll mention this other refereeing dispute. It was very clear to me watching the game. And of course, I'm not a referee, not in a referee's head. We actually had a professional referee comment on our post-game show. He was like, "Yeah, this was a really bad grade for this official. Like they're gonna get a really bad grade."
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just that call. There was a lot of calls throughout the game,
and the way that he let the game play out was like very odd.
But with it acknowledged that I didn't really like that call.
Yeah, I didn't either. It was a goal.
It's subjective at the end of the day, but like I didn't like that call. I wouldn't have liked it if it had gone against Seattle. So I always try and be honest with myself about that. I'd have been pissed. But Noah, my sympathy meter for the Colorado Rapids and their fan base over this call is it might be less than zero.
Ooh.
Might be less than zero because
you actively think it was a good call.
Earlier in the second half, in the 46th minute, the Rapids had this kid out there who I said on kickoff that he was making his MLS debut. He's played a few MLS games. He's like 20. This is his first game of the season. He
stole Andrew Craven's number though, so I'm gonna say like that's
okay.
You gotta I have no respect already.
Anyway, all that happened was he was on a yellow already, and then committed another yellow card foul, and he didn't get sent off. And like
the ref reached into his pocket.
Yeah,
pulled
so
the card
this is the whole problem. Like he gave a soft yellow to the kid on the first one, but you giving someone a soft yellow, that's on you.
That's on you.
That's on you. And that absolutely cannot, in any scenario, have any bearing on whether or not you give a player the second yellow if they commit a clear yellow card offense. He needs to be sent off in that situation. This is not subjective. It's not debatable. That is the most. If you made a list of criteria of a yellow card foul, that foul would check every single one. Like couldn't be more clear. And like you said, he goes into his pocket to give it to him, realizes that he would have to send him off if he does that. Feels bad, I guess, that he gave him the yellow the first time. And so he lets him stay on the field. The Colorado Rapids should have been down a man from the 46th minute onward in this game. No question about it. And for that reason, I feel nothing about the Navarro non-goal. Seattle might have got bailed out on that play. Colorado got more bailed out. I'm sorry, because
Maybe.
they got more bailed out because if the Navarro goal had counted, Seattle would have had some time to try and find an equalizer. They're still probably chalk, but they might have had time to find an equalizer. Colorado, if the ref gets that very obvious call right, they're down a man for the entire second half while already down 1-0. So they probably would have been more chalked than Seattle would have.
I gotta say, Colorado was definitely more hard done than the Sounders in this matchup. Waving off a clear goal because you are making up for
a guy
a
getting
red
sent
card
off is a huge decision.
Absolutely, I agree, but I'm just saying that's not a guarantee, right? I've seen plenty of teams play better with 10 men than 11 men. I've seen, whatever it may be. You can't determine an outcome from that, right? But the fact that they waved that goal off, they have a reason to feel hard done. The Sounders do too, sure, whatever. But like a man sent off versus a very clear goal, I don't know. I feel like Colorado was done worse than the Sounders. I think that it's say
equal. There's not like that big of a disparity in an impactful call between a guy getting sent off in the 46th minute and the play where the goal got waved off. Like playing down a man for an entire half is it's not guaranteed to be, but it's a hugely impactful call in the game. So I don't think I think it's like equal. It's tit for tat. They are equally hard done, and the Rapids, they can be mad about the goal. I just said that I didn't like the call, but they got bailed out too. So what I'm trying to make sure we do is not let any narrative take hold of like, oh, well, this actually was an L because Seattle got bailed out by that call. Colorado got bailed out by a call the exact same way.
I'm not saying that anyone got bailed out. I don't think that that's a fair assumption, but I do think that Colorado can feel more hard done by the decision to wave off a very clear goal that we both agree and agreed at the time was a goal.
Here's what I would dispute is like the term very clear. It's very clear to like in our opinion, but it is a subjective bang bang call at the end of the day. Like
but that's not 99 times out of 100 that's a goal.
I think you should watch it again. It's not a 90-100. I remember it. It's not a 90-100 call. It's a 50-50 call. It's a 50-50 call.
This is where we diverge.
Yeah.
This is where we diverge. You're wrong, Ari. You're wrong.
Like, I don't like the call, but like you can definitely make the argument that
it's a problem we're even having to have this conversation is I think what we're both at though. Like the officiating was tragically bad.
It was bad in this game, and
we don't complain about refs either. Really,
I remember that guy who commented and like said that we do, and I'm still upset about that.
We literally never talk about. In fact, we are so pro official that we literally had the union representative from pro officials when they were on strike on the podcast. We do care about officials. We're very charitable. And charitably speaking, this was not the best performance by this official.
Here I have a take that people aren't going to like.
I love it.
Because there's been a lot of officiating discourse this week, which we're going to get to in our blazing hot coach press conferences.
Yeah.
I don't buy into the whole narrative that MLS refs are like that much, if any, worse than other leagues in the world. Like,
watch the Prem, dude.
Exactly. There are like a lot of controversial calls and missed calls in MLS, but is that more true of MLS than the Prem or any league that you could name? I really don't think so. I think every league thinks that they have like the worst, most incompetent refs, when the reality is refereeing is just a fundamentally subjective thing where there are a lot of situations where people are going to be unhappy with you a certain percentage of the time, like no matter what you do. And there are certain games, obviously, where it's worse or more impactful than others. But on the whole, and it's impossible to measure this, but on the whole, I don't think MLS refereeing is worse than any other league. And the other thing is like, we only talk about these things when they miss the calls. Like whenever they use VAR correctly or get a really hard call right, no one is like, oh, great call, that was awesome. It only ever comes up when it's a call that people disagree with. But like the the moose goal in the freaking Nashville game, for instance. Like, that was a very badly, egregiously missed call, and that was like a fine, perfectly well-executed fine use of VAR as one example, and they got the call right. That stuff happens all the time, too. It's just people never talk about that. So anyway.
And we did. We said, you know what? Whatever. Like, you can't really miss that, but also knowing you have that backup, it's like whatever. But
I'm gonna take some heat for that
no,
one.
But
dude,
look at when we are in CONCACAF games, when we are in games officiated by Liga MX refs or by other Central American refs, it's shit. It's ass.
CONCACAF is its own category.
You're right, but I'm saying those officials look at how bad they are. When you come and play in MLS, there is a standard set. They like, yes, the pool of officials is really small and that's a problem and they agree with it. But the standard that they set in the style of play that they allow is very consistent across the board. It is something that they talk about. It's something that they train about. Like, they have a guide to how the game should be played. I'm serious. Like, you guys can talk and bitch and moan and say that they have the worst officials in the world. They do work really hard to officiate the games in a specific manner that makes it interesting for the fans, some sort of leeway, but also safe. And I think they do a pretty good job 9 times out of 10, maybe even 99 times out of 100.
Yeah. And in this scenario, there were these controversial calls, but controversial calls are a part of the game to an extent as well. Because like this Navarro call that we're debating, there's not like a black and white answer to that. Yeah. Whereas I guess that's the other difference between the yellow card one. Like, you could say yellow card fouls are subjective. That one was not. That was 100 times out of 100 a yellow.
Yeah, the first one, that's the problem. It's like when you're inconsistent or quick to jump the gun, you give this kid a yellow early for a foul that's hard, but maybe not necessarily a yellow to teach him a lesson because he's played 5 games and you don't know him, so you can't like have that rapport. Yeah, that's a problem, but I don't know. I think about it kind of like maybe it was Reed Baker Whiting when he got sent off. He got those 2 yellows or the straight red or something. Do you remember that? That was like last season.
Year?
Yeah. Or Obed getting sent off for kicking the ball away or something like that. Do you remember that? There was another one.
I don't know if I remember Obed getting a red. I remember the RBW one that we were talking about because we were saying he should have been subbed off. I remember that one.
Yeah. So like there's certain things where you're like frustrated, and I don't know. It's all to say like 9 times out of 10, it's fine. This game was poorly officiated though.
Yeah, and there was a lot of other controversial calls this week. It was like the week of officiating controversies.
Do you guys remember the scabs? So do you remember the scab refs?
Oh, that was terrible.
Holy shit. You want to talk about bad officiating? They literally had...
We should all be thankful for pro.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, they're unionized. They're paid well. I'm not saying that they're the best officials on the planet or that they can't get better. I'm just saying, like, you better count your goddamn blessings, because the second that like Bob Dylan from Louisville, Kentucky, the high school official, gets down on that field and he's like, shit, man, it's over for you. We've seen it. It's bad news.
Last key moment in this game, right at the end, Colorado has a shot on target that Stephen Fry saves the point. That was a big time save.
I have an agenda check based on that.
Oh, okay. So I guess let's table our Fry discussion till agenda check.
No, we can talk about the save.
I mean, I just wanted to note it.
Okay, yes, he made a really good save.
He made a really good save that preserved the draw. All right, we're going to take an ad break. We'll be right back with our positives and negatives, agenda check, and Blazing Hot Coach press conference.
Whoa. You were having a little bit too much fun. You're having a tiny bit too much fun, so we got to take a pause. And you got to do an ad, okay? This is the ad right here. It's me asking you, begging you, pleading with you. Become a YouTube member, okay? It is one of the best ways to help support our channel, help us continue to do content like this, and get exclusive content along the way. We have been posting extra podcast content consistently for our YouTube members only, exclusive parts of interviews that we just, it was too much. We couldn't release them publicly. So hear us out. Become a YouTube member, tons of cool emotes, tons of exclusive content, and you keep supporting this show and helping us do more fun stuff like this, like going out to Starfire and watching Open Cup games. That is it. Become a YouTube member. link down in the description, or just click the join button down below. Back to your video.
All right, Noah, let's talk about our positives and negatives.
Yeah.
I have mine here, and then you can give yours if that works. For positives, I got the result itself is solid, 1-1 away at Colorado. I know it sucked how it ended with Jordan going out, and it's definitely frustrating because they had the lead and actually gave themselves a good chance to win this game.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at purely the result itself, 1-1 away it's okay. It's fine.
It's fine.
Like I mentioned earlier, I thought their chance generation in this game was actually pretty good. Like for a road game at altitude, I was pretty happy with how the attack looked for the most part in the quality of the chances that they got and with the goal that they did score. And those goals are looking like they're coming from sustainable and repeatable sequences of play, which that's we don't even need to get into the XG aspect of it. We almost got in a physical altercation on the last show, but I think we can both agree that generating a lot of high quality chances is it's a good thing. It's what you want to see, and I feel like they're doing that right now. Moose stayed hot. He's in good form. That's going to be doubly, triply, quadruply important right now with Jordan Morris out for the next few weeks, and it's just good to see him coming good on getting rewarded for playing well
and believing in himself,
when
no one else did.
It's a fun little storyline that we got going on with Moose right now.
And someone said that I hate to admit when I'm wrong. What are we talking about? I'm never wrong. I didn't even say that Moose was bad.
No, yeah, that never happened by you.
Yeah.
Good to see Ferreira get another assist. Not just the fact that it was another one for the stat sheet, but God, that pass was so nice.
It was great. When he gets in those moments and he knows that there is going to be a play and he can make it, I feel like he goes into another mode. He goes into Jesus mode. He goes into walk on water mode. And like, you get some passes like that. Like, that was like a dude walking on water.
Yeah, I just really appreciate, I would say, just the general unselfishness and team-oriented nature of his game.
Yeah.
This guy, like, obviously, he's been good at scoring goals throughout his career. He wants really badly to start scoring goals here, but he doesn't care about the glory for himself or getting all the goals for himself. He just wants the team to score. He's very good at putting his teammates in positions to score. And for all the talk about his goal scoring, which is valid, he has been a really good facilitator for this team this year. And this one in particular was just such a nice pass. KKR gets the primary on that, so that's another positive. Just kind of his rise. Like, I was talking to Nico about it, but like, I feel like the conversation with KKR almost needs to switch from like, is this guy a MLS player? Which now at this point we know, but the question is like, how high a ceiling an MLS player could he be? To me, I've seen enough from him where I feel like he actually has star potential. Like, he could actually get to a place where he's considered like a really, really plus player at the MLS level for this team. Ryan Kent looked good again. That was another positive. And then Schmetzer mentioned this after the game, but for how kind of rough the season started between CCC and some of the league games not going well, they're right in it on the table. If they keep playing well, all their goals and objectives of accomplishing great things this season and winning some trophies are right in front of them. They got to...
3 points out of second.
3 points out of second. They got to keep playing well. But I feel like with what we've seen the last...
3 points out of third. I'm sorry. Apologies.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. They're
making false allegations here.
But I feel like if they keep playing how they've been playing these last few weeks, there's a solid reason to be optimistic that the rough start to the season can be kind of left behind them, and then they can really start locking in on the stuff they want to accomplish this year.
It's a tough next few games. Like, I won't lie.
We're going to learn a lot about this team, especially without Jordan Morris over the next few weeks. Like, you're right. The schedule it's not easy. Negatives. I think the Jordan injury is obviously the biggest one. He was just coming back. Really sucked to see him go out. Now they're going to have to be out without him for a few weeks. And it really just, I think it kind of clouded a lot of the positive feelings that you might normally get from like a hard fought road draw Seeing him go out was just a bummer. The defensive performance, they only gave up one goal, but I get specifically the set piece defending, I think was a negative.
And Gaymar in general.
I mean, I don't even he didn't have a great game, but a lot of the looks, there should not be that many clean headers off corner kicks.
True.
And that's on.
Yeah, the set piece defending was atrocious.
That's on more than just Gaymar.
Absolutely.
And also, did you catch how Christian was saying after the game, how they hadn't really talked much about what to do in that scenario because it doesn't come up that often. So they were kind of improvising on the fly on what to do.
Game management.
That feels like a oversight.
That feels like bad coaching.
Especially because he was saying, that situation doesn't come up that often, which but it comes up. It comes up enough to where
you got to play Messi this year, so it's gonna happen.
Schmetz actually said that but then that probably should. I don't know.
Exactly.
I just thought
Brian,
that was.
Come on.
Yeah,
come on. Andy Rose
arguably deserved to concede more than one. But I think they arguably deserve to score more than one too. But just if we're talking purely about defensively, they probably got a little lucky to get out of there with just one goal conceded. And
deserved is deserved. That doesn't mean shit in the scoreline.
Yeah, the first half was just shaky in general.
Yeah.
So those are my positives and negatives. What do you got?
I just wanted to cook on the Jordan injury one. I think that it just adds to my, I guess, frustration with the depth at the 9 that's been around. That's been a problem for me. Now, they have to figure something else out. I understand that Jesus is an emergency option, but who's a real option? Because you're about to come up to a match week here where you're going to play at LAFC and then at Portland. You're not going to have Jordan back. That's in 2 weeks, I believe, or 3 weeks. You're not going to have Jordan back reliably for that. You're not going to be able to play Danny Musovski for 90 minutes in 2 match days and then coming off of 2 previous weeks. God forbid he gets injured. What is the realistic option here?
It's false 9 Ferreira. That's it.
And that is horrifying to me. That's a loss, and a loss.
That's a little melodramatic, I think.
I don't think so, because if you look at his performance, he doesn't look comfortable.
I wouldn't say I'm horrified by it. I would say that skepticism is certainly warranted based on what we've seen of him playing up top so far. But I guess I more than some people think that there's an outcome where they figure it out a little more. These are smart guys, they're all high IQ individuals. I know it hasn't
can't play him with Rusnak.
It hasn't worked yet, but that doesn't mean it never will. The level that we've seen with the type of setup this season is not guaranteed to be the same level that we see going forward when they've theoretically had more time to, drill it in training, and they're going to have to run it for in games too. So I'm not predicting that it's for sure going to be super awesome and get way better. I'm just saying that it could. We don't know.
But it's week 10 and
that's early.
Hypothetically,
that's early. Week 10 is
that's
early.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And it's week 10 and hypothetically, yes, you could give Jesus more run at the 9, and you could not have Boost play as many games, and you're probably going to see him there anyway, regardless if it makes you upset or not. That's just, there's no other backup plan than that. So he's going to get run there, but is that enough time for him to figure it out before you play at Portland and at LAFC, 2 important rivalry games, which to me, that's very important. Those are 2 very important away games. Get a point. You got to get a point from those. And not only because we hate the Portland Timbers and we want to make Happyfoot sad. It's that is a tough 2-game sequence where you need answers and you're going to have to score and you're going to be playing 2 top-tier Western Conference teams. I just don't think having your backup plan as, well, this guy, he hasn't figured it out yet, but maybe he'll figure it out in the game where the stakes are the highest. That's not going to work. That's not fair.
You ride Moose in those games.
Sure. But he, like I'm saying, he can't play in back-to-back games. He can't play 90 in back-to-back games.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I think you ride Moose as much as you're able to, and then
but they got to figure out a backup plan. What do you think the backup plan would be?
the backup plan is literally false nine Ferreira. Like whatever you think of that plan, I don't really see another plan unless we're talking about De Rosario. I would be down for the Rothrock thing.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they'll do that.
Do you think they should have signed a U22?
I still see why they didn't and think that it ultimately might prove prudent why they didn't. The whole logic was that they wanted to see how the team played and what the need was before they assessed how to use that spot. And I think that actually turned out to be smart because now they have a better handle on that.
But I meant in the last few weeks.
Oh.
Because the window just closed. They didn't even make an acquisition in general.
Yeah, well,
at the
like
striker
waiting
position.
through this window. I mean, that seems like you don't want to rush into things. We don't know the behind the scenes of it, but
they've had this spot.
If they had a super awesome target that they felt that they could go get and plug in and he could produce right away, then they should go do that. But like, if you're just settling for a guy just to get a guy because you feel like you need a guy like right now, that's not a smart way to do it. That's how you end up making a bad signing. So I would not want them to do that.
Goddamn salary cap league, Ari.
I like the salary
Me
cap,
too.
man.
I'm
It
just
makes you
being-
get tactical with it.
I'm being a pain in the ass.
But I mean, I think it's
I'm
pretty clear
concerned.
what they have to do with this U22 spot now.
Yeah, but it's like then it's also the same thing of like you sign U22. We know what that means. Unless you're Joveljic, you're not hitting immediately.
There's a lot of pressure on that spot being used on a player who, like, it can't be like a Leo Chu, even a Leo Chu situation where
he's hurt also. Leo Chu, please get better.
He wasn't as much of a bust as everyone says, but he wasn't like a week in, week out, carry the load contributor. You don't need a U22 to come in and be the guy, like week in, week out, carry the load guy every single game in and game out. But you need it to be a guy that actually, when you put him in the game, he scores goals sometimes, as often as possible. Like, it can't be
De La Vega start.
like a super non-contributor for the first year that he's on the team for developmental whatever. Like, and Craig Wybes has even said that. He's like,
but that's what that position is good for. That's my problem. It's like that is how it should be utilized in a realistic sense. I understand that they're spending big and like all of this, and it's a way to get basically an extra DP on the cheap and, or, you know, kind of move things around. But dude, like that, you can't expect some random 22 and under player who's going to come to MLS on a contract on a salary to just be that guy. I don't think you can. And so it just concerns me. It just concerns me. The lack of striker depth concerns me, but you never know.
no, it's definitely a concern right now because like the backup plan if Moose isn't on the field is not they haven't
looked good so far.
They haven't shown one where you saw it and you were like, all right, that's it, you know. Yeah. So I think they can figure it out, but they do have to actually go do that.
Yeah. De Rosario, you are a sounder.
This might happen. All right, Noah, let's hit our agenda check. I'll lead off and then you can hit yours. Does that work?
Let's
Unless
do it.
you added one you're
No,
dying
I would
to.
love for you to start.
Okay, this one's called the Ferreira's just been the assist guy all along agenda.
That's a really long and catchy name, Ari.
He's just he's a dime disher. He's Steve Nash. If you crossed him with John Stockton, he's always been as such. He wasn't brought here to score the goals. He's just here to rack assists.
He's the Xavi to Messi.
Yeah, I knew it and I said it the whole time.
Yeah. No, wow, what a good and totally predicted outcome.
How about this? If it turns out that he's more of a facilitator than a goal scorer on this team, then that's not like a terrible outcome.
No, here's my take on it, okay? And mine's a little bit like, I'm going to do like a broader view of it. This now and the way that he's playing gives you so much more flexibility at the 10 position because it allows you to essentially, if Rusnak is starting to decline, if he doesn't play well this season, if he doesn't play up to what he was playing, you can ship him off, move him around, interleague trade, figure that out, right? While he still has value, and you plug in Jesus Ferreira right there at the 10, okay? I don't think that's a terrible option. Regardless, he's able to play at that 10 at a high level when Rusnak may not be able to provide that, or, whoever else might not be to provide that. We already have so much winger depth. Everyone on this team is a winger. I keep saying this. And you have a guy who is a dime disher to those wingers, understands how those wings play better than just about anyone because, they were slapping him there in the beginning of preseason. And so he kind of learned that system. He can make those insane plays, especially with KKR and all of that. It gives you so much versatility. It's honestly almost better than just having him as like, I'm only a pure 9 or I'm just a winger. It is honestly like in a sick way, the best case scenario if you make it work and you play to it. But I don't know if they're going to actually play to it. Because I think that like how do you actually balance that with Albert Rusnak? Albert Rusnak is too good of a player to just throw on the bench and do a Raul Ruiz.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think there's a need to do that yet. So
no.
I guess that's a good segue into the other agenda, which this is one that we've been talking about, but I figured we may as well give our updated thoughts on it, which is, I guess that I'm calling this your agenda, the Ferreira and
it is my agenda.
Like, this is the Ferreira and Rusnak shouldn't play together and that they should rotate and
keep
mix
Ferreira
and
and Rusnak separated on the playground agenda.
No dual 10s agenda.
Lunch detention agenda.
How are you feeling about this?
I feel the same about it. They looked bad together in this game when they played together for the very few minutes that they did. They neuter each other. They do. And they are both incredible players. And sometimes when you have two brilliant soccer minds on the field at the same time, it doesn't work. And that's okay. That's all right. But you got to do right by both of the players, and you got to just put them in the best position as possible. And if that means Jesus Ferreira needs to sit on the bench, Jesus Ferreira needs to sit on the bench. And if that means Albert Rusnak needs to sit on the bench, that means Albert Rusnak needs to sit on the bench. But there are too many better options. I would rather have Ryan Kent playing on the wing than Jesus Ferreira. I would rather have Paul Rothrock playing on the wing than Jesus Ferreira. I would rather have Pedro de la Vega playing on the wing than Jesus Ferreira. And I might even rather, I don't know about this, but like KKR is getting up there, man.
Ooh, now that's a good agenda. You didn't even have that. How did you not write that down?
I did. That's not like I'm not almost. I said I'm almost there.
Yeah, no. Honestly, the everything you're saying with that makes sense. I still think that it's. I guess I still think it's too early to make a definitive determination on it. I don't think you're wrong that what we've seen so far with like the dual 10s and just them playing together in general hasn't looked great.
Or him at the
all.
9 and Rusnak at the 10. That looks even worse.
I mean,
the dual 10s can look serviceable in moments.
Yeah, I mean, but like, would you grant that we're still at a point in the season where adaptation with new players is not necessarily complete yet?
Yes, but I don't want to downgrade a player for the sake of integrating another player that you don't necessarily have to. You're trying to fit us like a square whatever into a round hole, like a square peg into a round hole. You don't need to play them at the same time to have a strong team in this lineup. You are playing both of them at the same time because you feel like you have to because they are two talented players.
Yeah.
And I don't think that is good tactics. I'm not a tactical guy, but that doesn't make sense in my brain.
What you're saying makes sense. It's just it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it, because it's like if you do rotate and mix and match them, like, maybe it's like one's going 60, one's going 30, and like you base that on stuff like who you're playing or who's the most fit at the moment or whatever. But like, what are the players going to think of that? Like, are you risking upsetting the dynamics and stuff? So it's a tough one for the coaching staff. I will say it's one of those ones where like it makes me grateful that we can have debates like this instead of the debates that some other fan bases are having. Like debating like who to play between Jesus Ferreira and Albert Rusnak is a champagne problem at the end of the day, even if they haven't looked good together so far.
Well, and that's my point, is I think that if you have two players who are so talented and they just don't fit together and they both lower their level when they're on the field together. How is that doing right, one, by the player, but how is that going to make them happy? Both of those players want to win. You can see it in their eyes. They get so upset when it's like they're not playing well, or they can tell you that they're not playing well. Albert doesn't show it, but you can tell. And regardless of who you're starting, that's not my decision to make. That's not my decision to manage their abilities and their emotions. But you've got to think at least that they would understand that, hey, listen, we're going to get you run. You got to trust the process, though. Like, you got to trust that, like, we are in a situation where we need to win as a team. You guys it's not working together, and you're both downgrading your ability when you're playing together. We don't want to downgrade either of your abilities because you're two top-tier MLS players. That's what I would say to them. I'd say, listen, this is not about you're not good enough. It's about making
sure
this
team is so stacked.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what
frame it like that. You're too good.
That's what Jesus Ferreira knew coming on this team. That is why he's not a DP on this team, and that is why he might not start. He's not a DP. I'm not, and like he should be, absolutely. He's essentially a fake DP on the roster, but like it's not that they shouldn't play together. It's that I guess it is that they shouldn't play together. It's not that like they can't play together or that like it's impossible to get them to play together. It's that when you look at all the things that I've laid out, like I just feel like they shouldn't. It just feels like you're trying to force it. And why are you trying to force it? The team's good enough without forcing it.
Yeah. I mean, resource allocation, I think, does factor into how you think about it, because in a salary cap league, it's never necessarily ideal to have some of your highest paid players in a super sub role. But like, I think there is, credence to what you're talking about rotating it through a long season, and like you don't necessarily have to do it. So
like, here's what I would ask you, right? Maybe you play them at the dual 10, but alternatively, Jesus Ferreira would be playing out on the wing.
Right.
Who are you taking out on the wing? Are you taking Ryan Kent or are you taking Jesus Ferreira?
Well, Ryan Kent, I'm not like thinking of as a guaranteed first choice starter yet. He might get there, but we just don't. That's still up in the air.
Okay, Pedro de la Vega, Jesus Ferreira on the wing.
Like deciding between the two of them. De la Vega.
Yeah, okay. Paul Rothrock, Jesus Ferreira.
See, that's where it gets interesting.
No, that's what I'm saying. What do you think?
As it stands right now, I would say Rothrock, but I think that if you do get Ferreira working there and it hits, the upside's way higher.
Yeah, but it's not about what might happen. It's like what is happening. That's like the whole point.
But what's happening right now isn't necessarily what's going to happen in the future.
I mean,
you got to get cosmic with it.
We can bet on everything and hope that it happens, and it's not going to potentially happen. And here's where I think we diverge in our view of soccer. Is like, that's why I think XG is annoying to use as a thing, because it's a maybe. It's a maybe. I'm looking at what's happening. I mean, XG is partially what's happening. I'm not trying to. I'm just saying, like, I think it's cool that we can have this conversation from two like separate sides of seeing the same situation.
It's definitely like a good debate.
Yeah.
It's a good debate.
Yeah.
Like I was having it with Nico. Like it's fun to put our little coach hats on. Like see what we
I don't
would
envy
do.
the coaching stuff.
It's tough.
Ever.
It's tough.
Ever.
All right, next agenda. This goal that Seattle scored this week is a good opportunity for me to do my little secondary assist soapbox agenda. I've done this soapbox a few times before, but I never.
You're at odds with all the Sounder at Heart boys
on the secondary assist agenda.
Assists in general, they say assists aren't important and they're a terrible stat.
I've never heard.
Yeah, it's
that.
a crazy take.
Never heard that agenda.
I don't know about all that. Or that they're not helpful. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, my secondary assist agenda is MLS takes a lot of heat for counting secondary assists. People say it's a Mickey Mouse way to like inflate player stats to make them look better than they actually are. My opinion on it has been and will always be that secondary assists are totally fine. The logic makes perfect sense. People saying that the logic is like this crazy thing that's totally out of nowhere. The logic could not be any more sound. And I think this goal was a perfect example of Ferreira absolutely should get an assist.
He created the entire play.
The primary assist doesn't happen without him setting it up. And it was a brilliant play, like the technical ability of it, the vision and everything. There's no reason that he shouldn't get on the stat sheet for that. So that secondary assist is valid assist. All secondary assists are valid assists. MLS is actually ahead of the times for counting secondary assists, and it's actually your favorite league, that's Bush League, for not counting him. Like, what is seriously, what is wrong with him getting an assist on that play? What is wrong with that? Makes perfect sense. So I will never pass up an opportunity for that soapbox.
As the anti-statistics guy on the podcast, I stand with you, Ari. I stand with you.
Anti goals and assists? Like, is
no?
that...
I'm very pro like numbers on the board, but I'm not like, oh, this means the world. You know, this means more than whatever. I'm just saying, like, as a guy who is heavily questioning of using statistics as a good measure to like dictate a lot in your argument. I mean, secondary assists are oftentimes more important or just as important as your primary assist. Like that, like you saying, that play doesn't materialize. That goal doesn't happen if Jesus Ferreira doesn't make a very difficult pass and a very clean and crisp and good and smart play to set the whole thing up.
And then people always go, well, if you give the assist to the second guy, then don't you have to give it to the third or the fourth?
And you know what I would say, Ari?
You give it to the second guy.
You know what I would say?
That's it.
Go for it. Everyone who touches the ball gets an assist. I'm cool with that. And if you touch it twice, you get a second assist.
See, I just think that
What's wrong with that?
Giving it to the second guy and like putting that as the delineation on who gets on the stat sheet or not, that's fine too. That like there's nothing. It's not a dunk to be like, well, then could you give it to the other? Like, no, just the second guy. What's wrong with that? All right.
No, I'm with you. I stand with you, Ari.
Thanks. All right. What agendas you got, Noah?
My agenda for today, I got two of them. My first one, I miss him. Okay. I miss him, Ari, and I have to talk about him because I miss him. He's the former Big Ten Defender of the Year. He's a legend up at Michigan. Go Blue. Jackson Reagan. Okay, here's my agenda. Jackson Reagan drives the defense agenda. This whole back line, the whole way that they play out of the back, it cannot exist without Jackson Reagan in its current form. Okay, he is one of the best, if not the best, at distributing out of the back I have ever seen across MLS. This is why he was a Defender of the Year candidate. And this is why, well, he was robbed of Defender of the Year by a literal attacking player, so we don't have to talk about that, but he powers this defense, and we are missing him tremendously. And while we were both a little bit tough on him, I think seeing the, like, you know how it's like the saying is, you don't know something until it's gone. Like, you don't know how much you have until it's gone. That is how I feel about Jackson Reagan.
No, I mean, I think that's exactly the feeling. Like, I don't think I fully realized or appreciated how big of an impact his long passing and his passing out of the back really makes. Like you said, I think the fan base in general has been on him a little bit this year because there's been some individual mistakes that have led to goals or chances or whatever. And that's, that's fair. That's part of being a CB. If that stuff happens, people are going to say that stuff. But you can see how much they're missing without his ability on the ball and his passing. It really, like, he is low key one of the most important players in the attack. Like,
hands down.
Yeah. Like the way he can spring guys and just always making the right pass, and his the accuracy on his long balls is phenomenal. And it's a big part of this team, and they are missing it right now.
Yeah, he is such a talented player. The USMNT should be trying to get him at every camp, not just the cupcake ones. And this is why we're Canada fans. Jackson Reagan one time switched to Canada. We need you, GOAT.
That's a good agenda.
Yeah, the one time switch to Canada agenda. Everyone should. Paul Rothrock one time, is he eligible? I mean, he played at Toronto. I feel like he should be eligible. Anyway, And then my second agenda was based on some online chatter that I heard from some pundits. I was sparring back and forth intellectually online about this. And no one really takes me very seriously, which honestly, totally fair.
I can't believe that. Yeah.
Like totally fair.
That's
Like look
shocking to hear.
Like, you know, I'm basically a caricature of like the guy who is yelling on the street with the like Jesus sign and the bullhorn, but it's just about soccer, right? Like you're like that guy.
That's a good way of putting it.
That guy needs to just like stop talking and posting. But I was in their comments, in their mentions, because I was defending our glorious 39-year-old king, Stephen Fry. My agenda is the anti of this, but their agenda was Stephen Fry is washed and immobile agenda. And I have to say, okay, I don't really understand why you would tweet that in the middle of a game, for one, because you know what's going to happen when you tweet that or post that, right? He's going to inevitably make a great save the game, whatever it may be, which is exactly what he did in this game. And it just has to be said that while absolutely he's getting older, he's getting less mobile, whatever that means, he is still the best number one option. I love Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas is incredible. He is one of the most fun players I've ever watched in my entire life. He throws caution to the wind, though. That's the reality. When we were at that Open Cup game, do you remember that play where he like passed it to a defender or to an attacker and then just decided to full bull rush him and lay his full body out on the ground, ended up like diving on the ball, saving it because the attacker took too big of a touch. But that's the kind of thing, man, where
I actually thought that game in particular, for the most part, he was able to temper that.
Yeah.
But like you're right, like in general, he's a little more of a wild card in there. Like, that is,
Well, and it's like, do I want him in the middle of this atrocious defensive game to settle everyone down, or do I want Andrew Thomas to go crash out mode? I'm just not there yet with Andy T. I think he's incredible, and I think he's going to be really great once he gets in that role. He's the clear successor. That's exciting. The Andy T era is going to be epic, and we will be there, and we will be riding. But man, what is up with this like anti-Fry agenda? It's so dumb. You're I don't even know what people were talking about. That like I do not agree that he's immobile and that he's not serviceable and that we should be concerned. I think he has been playing great soccer. I thought he was the man. I mean, we didn't even do Lobbing Scorchers man of the match.
We forgot.
But I thought he might have been the man of the match.
Well, I mean, that last save he made was it saved the result. I've seen the Fry's Wash stuff going around a little bit, even dating back to last year.
It was being purveyed by the XG nerds too, so maybe I took it personally.
I don't feel okay, so that's where you're. It's because the reason you're that passionate on the soapbox is because they're pointing at stats that supposedly show that Fry has lost a step. I'm not advocating for those stats. I don't remember or know.
They weren't even advocating at the stats, but on what I saw. To be fair,
for me personally, I haven't been that concerned with the goalkeeping this year. I feel like it's been pretty good. I feel like a lot of the goals that they've conceded were due to defensive errors more than poor goalkeeping. There might be a couple in there that you could say he like could have saved, but then there's also like the one he made in Colorado, which was a huge save. He made a couple of huge saves in the Nashville game. I think in the last couple weeks he's started to like make those Fry saves where you're like, this guy's goated. So I don't know. We'll see if that becomes something that I'll be more concerned about going forward this season. For now, like I still trust Fry over anyone for stuff like exactly like we saw in the Colorado game. I think Andy T is an MLS number one, and he's going to be a great successor. But there's a peace of mind that comes with Fry that I still feel. If other people don't, they're entitled to that. But I'm not really.
They're not.
I'm not concerned about the GK.
Well, it's just don't come in my mentions saying he's been statistically the worst goalkeeper in the league by a huge margin. Bro, I'm sorry. What does it matter? He saved this game. I don't give a shit about your stupid stats, man. Like you're so you guys are so watch soccer. Get off, put down the phone, pick up the glasses, Ari. I'm like one of those old people who are like They always on their damn phone. These kids always on their damn phone. Put the foot mob down. Foot mob is poisoning our children, Ari. It's poisoning our children.
The anti-stats soapboxes are your most boomer take.
It's fine. I agree. No, I am. It's funny because like Brian makes some of the same takes as me, and I'm like, damn, maybe I'm not into the modern game.
Coaches like to be like, coaches love to be like, the only stat that matters is the scoreboard.
Yeah, and I'm like the same dude. Yeah, like that's my bit, dude. Like what?
You could be a coach
great.
with that.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take another ad break. Don't skip the ads, and we're gonna be right back with our blazing hot coach press conference of the week. Really excited for this one. This is gonna be good.
And around MLS. The Seattle Sounders brand new 2025 kit is here. Inspired by two traditional Southern Coast Salish weaving techniques, twilling and twinning. These techniques, passed down through generations, honor the resilience, deep-rooted ties, and creativity that define the cultural fabric of this region. The striking deep blue jersey will be worn by the Sounders for the next 2 seasons to honor the club's deep connection with the Puget Sound and shared responsibility as stewards of the greater Salish Sea watershed. Backing up that commitment, the Seattle Sounders will donate up to $50,000 to benefit community charities around the Puget Sound region. To get your very own Salish Sea kit, visit lobbingscorchers.com/kit. That's lobbingscorchers.com/KIT. Welcome back to our podcast, which we record and do with support from our sponsors. So if you skipped our sponsors, just know you are personally victimizing both me and Ari and stabbing us in the back and the heart. So please go back, re-listen to those ads, maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times if you really love and care about the show. Ari, take it away.
Support our sponsors. All right, let's get into this week's Blazing Hot Coach Press Conference of the Week, sponsored by Hacks and Ferments. Support Hacks and Ferments. Great company, great hot sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Love them. This week, Noah, I think might have been our greatest week of Blazing Hot Coach Press Conference ever. I ended up having to feature 3 coaches.
Oh my God.
We had
how could we be so lucky?
Greg Burhalter, Greg Vanny, both Gregs.
Gregging it up.
And Charlotte FC's Dean Smith.
Who's basically a Greg. Like, he looks like a Greg.
All 3 of them are featured this week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down like the circumstances that all 3 coaches were giving these press conferences under, because I think that's important for the context. And then we're going to play. I literally made a video.
We're proud of you.
I made a video compilation. That is like how good the press conferences were this week. Made a video compilation. Noah hasn't seen it yet.
No.
So I'm gonna play it for Noah, and we're gonna show my video, and then we're gonna break down the pressers and which ones that we liked best, which coach we thought was spitting the most fire.
I think the first thing is apologizing to the fans that took the time out of their day to watch that game. Some of them perhaps traveled to the game. Apology to the owner for putting up a performance like this. That doesn't represent who we are.
And just kind of out of the blue is a penalty call that I haven't seen it for sure in the run of it live. I didn't see a penalty. At best, it was 50-50 and soft. Don't call it. Nobody says anything ever.
That's probably the most incompetent performance from the officials, in my opinion, that I've seen.
And it was a very, very poor performance. And we deserve to lose the way we did.
There's no response. They're never wrong, so it doesn't matter. Like, how do you get better if you can never look in the mirror and say, you know what, maybe I need to get better today?
I asked the fourth official for a rule, he didn't even know. So it's incompetence, and I get a yellow card for telling them it's incompetence.
Today was an absolute disaster and a very, very poor performance.
We need to get better. And I need to get better with the group, and I can stand in front of you and tell it. Why can't they come in front of the media and say, you know what, we need to get better. That wasn't good enough. Because today it wasn't good enough. It's not good enough for this level.
I can accept if a team's better than you or they scored a really good goal and you go, yeah, okay, that didn't happen today. In my opinion, it wasn't up to the game today, the officials.
We're all responsible for this. I'm responsible for this, the coaching staff, setting the guys up to succeed. We're going to have to look at it. We have to process through it.
And they need to accept it and own it and say it, and then we'll all have more respect for the situation when they can also sit up in front of us like this and say, we need to get better.
Those were our Blazing Hot Coach Press Conference of the Week. sponsored by Hacks and Ferments.
Wow,
No,
you might have made the greatest video of all time.
I'm pretty proud of it.
I am so proud of you. Like as the new video editor.
I've been learning my CapCut. Yeah, I've been
Dude,
learning my
you
CapCut.
cooked.
I mean, they made it. They locked that over the plate for us. That was pretty easy. But let's talk about these because I think there's different things to dig into.
I gotta know what your favorite one was though. Starting just as a baseline.
It's tough, but my favorite one I think was Vanny.
Yeah.
Vanny was absolutely spitting. There was a lot of facets to it. He was doing the whole the refs should have to talk to the media thing, which is a popular Blazing Hot coach press conference thing, and really just like everything about the Vanny I thought was top class in terms of Blazing Hot coach press conference. But let's talk about the Burhalter one.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one was my favorite.
I thought this was kind of an interesting one. It wasn't like that Blazing Hot, but it's more. I included it more just because it's like the novelty of a coach having to do a presser after a 7-2.
Yeah,
the
that's
Chicago
crazy.
Fire lost this game 7-2, so he had to go face the music after that. And so, like, before I watched it, I was like, all right, what's Greg going to do here? Like, squad just gave up 7 goals. They haven't been playing well the last couple weeks, even before that. Now they gave up a 7 spot. He's going to be under fire, under Chicago Fire from the fan base and probably ownership. And so what's he going to do? What's he going to do? First thing he does, apologizes.
Yep.
He's I'm going to apologize to the fan base, apologize to the owner for
That's
the product
crazy.
that we put out. That's just when you have to do that as a coach at the presser, that's tough.
Yeah, he walked up to that podium like he had just killed a dog. Like he had just run a dog over with his car or like it kind of reminded me, I don't know if Portland ever did a presser after both their players got those DUIs. Do you remember that? It felt like that had just happened and he had to come out and like speak on that. Like it felt like a tragic event had happened, which I guess it kind of did.
There's not much you can say after a 7-2. So I think honestly, all things considered, Burhalter handled that as well as you could, given the circumstances. And, you know, he gave the whole, like, I'm responsible for this. Everyone's responsible for this. It's a collective. It's not about, at one point he was like, it's not about singling people out. So,
well, Greg is not new to getting his ass beat. So
he, you know, I think he probably was questioning all the decisions that he made leading up to this moment of ended up coaching the Chicago Fire. You know, it's probably, you know, he's had a lot of success in MLS. He probably thought he could get that. It's the Chicago Fire, Greg.
Dude. Yeah,
you're coming into this from a deep hole. There
is not enough sage in the world to fix that club.
Apparently not, man. Because remember the start of the season, the pundits were like, "Hey, look at the Burhalter. Hugo Kuipers might win the Golden Boot 7-2."
Sure, buddy.
So that was
get run on by Sam Sturridge.
That was four goals to Sam Sturridge. Oh my goodness. So anyway, I thought Burhalter, you know, given the circumstances, he did all he could, but
is he gonna get sacked?
No way. MLS is a lot more forgiving than most leagues. And also, man, like he's in his first year trying to rebuild a club that is like deep in the gutter. Yeah. But even with that, like, a 7-2 is hard to rationalize.
It was
like
almost
giving up 7. Like, remember when Seattle lost to San Diego 3-0?
Yeah, that
and we
felt
were
like
like,
the
this
world was
is the
ending.
most disgusting thing. 3-0 is like nothing compared to a 7 spot.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus
Which,
Christ.
and funny enough, somehow that match, they still didn't play as bad as Atlanta played this weekend, which I'm sure we'll get into in winners and losers.
I really like Dean Smith's too, though.
Dean Smith, was he standing?
No,
He
it was
looks
just
like he's like
no,
straight
he's
vertical.
He's sitting, and like the footage from their YouTube, the sound isn't very good and stuff. So, but I thought that added to the character.
No, it does. It was like lo-fi.
Added to the character of it. But Dean Smith was fire. He was calling the officials incompetent. My favorite part of the Dean Smith one was when he was like, and then they gave me a yellow card for saying that they're incompetent. Yeah, Dean, what did you?
Dude,
I honestly don't even know what he's mad about. Like,
no,
I didn't even look into.
Didn't they win?
But his no, they lost.
No, they lost
1-0. So the reason, like, all three of these coaches have different motivations.
Yeah.
Greg Burhalter is trying to damage control after
Flopping.
5-goal defeat where his team conceded 7. Greg Vanny.
I don't even think they can legally re-air that match. Like that is like
it's
it's that bad.
Greg Vanny, his team is off to one of the worst start in the league, tied with CF Montreal.
Which you cannot be tied with CF Montreal.
Yeah, a season after winning MLS Cup, they're off to the worst title defense in the history of the league. So like the Vanny one is a classic situation where the team is performing so poorly that if they kind of look over here, look at the refs.
Yeah.
Look how badly I only take it so seriously when a club is as down bad as the Galaxy, and then the coach starts talking about the refs. The penalty call that Portland got might have been a bad call. That's not the root of what ails the LA Galaxy. So they
also lost 2-4. So I don't really.
They gave up 3 goals outside of what he was saying. So they were down 3-0. They cut it back to 3-2, and then it was a soft PK call to make it 4-2. And he was saying that the refs kind of took the momentum away from us type stuff. Bud. I mean, even if he's right, even if you grant that he's right, that is not like the reason that the LA Galaxy are last place in the West right now. Like they got issues beyond one, like a soft PK call. He was saying, the reffing wasn't up to the level of a top flight league or whatever. But
your coaching isn't up to that.
That's a classic diversionary. Coach presser, and then you look at Dean Smith. Charlotte is off to a really good start this year.
Pepiel is going to win MVP.
Pepiel looks like one of the best players in the league and all that. But Charlotte, they're actually. Have you been paying attention to the Zaha stuff?
Yeah, dude. So, I sent you that post.
Oh, okay. You're the one who said it. Yeah, so they're dealing with their star player, biggest acquisition, being disgruntled right now. So that's
he's posting on Snapchat.
Yeah.
It's 2025. You are an old man. Get off Snapchat. Stop posting on your Snapchat story. What are we doing, Zaha?
He's my age, okay. So
he's an old man.
Yeah. So Dean Smith.
If I'm posting that if I had a Snapchat and I was posting on my Snapchat story, like, bruv, I just can't handle the pressure, bruv. You just don't understand, bruv. It's like I do well, bruv, and then like they hate me, and like I do poorly and they hate me. It's like, bruv, like get off my dick, mate. Get off my dick, mate. It's like, dude,
is that your Zaha?
That was my Zaha. I don't actually know what he sounds like. This might be offensive. Apologies.
He crashed out online.
Yep.
Dean Smith is trying to deal with that. And then they had been undefeated at home. They had some crazy unbeaten streak at home, like dating back to last year. It was looking like one of the biggest fortresses in the league.
Yep.
And then they lost 1-0 to the Revs at home.
Yeah.
So Dean Smith is trying to kind of divert away from that. They just took a really bad result at home, and that their star player is crashing out online. So again, like differing motivations from all three of them, but comedically and for us, it worked out great.
It was a beautiful song of symphony. Like they're all just chirping about the same shit instead of taking.
Burhalter was the Dean Smith and Vanny were crashing out about the
three
refs,
Gregs,
and then Burhalter was just trying to find meaning in life again.
Yeah, dude, I feel you can tell that he's lost it. He's lost the love. It's gone from his eyes.
It looked like it in that presser.
Yeah, like he looks like he never wants to see a soccer ball ever again, which I don't really blame him. Like to be constantly told that you are a joke, not a coach, basically just like a sock in the wind. Plastic bag. What is that? Plastic bag drifting through the wind, wanting to start again. He wanted to start again. And you know what he did? He started again at the Chicago Fire, a club that literally is cursed by like every god that exists. They are doomed, and he is. And they actually, not doing well.
It seemed like they started off like okay.
False
they had
hope,
they had Bamba seemed like a really good signing and was looking pretty good. Hugo Kuipers is a really good number 9, honestly.
He's
a
7
guy.
goals.
Yeah, he's a guy who will be up with the Golden Boot leaders all season, I'm pretty sure. So you think that like maybe they're turning it around, and then 7-2.
Yeah.
That's just tough.
Yeah. And they have that dude named like Pumpernickel or whatever, the winger. I don't know.
Oh yeah, he had a really sick goal for one of their goals. So there's that. All right, that was our Blazing Hot Coach Press Conferences, plural, of the week, sponsored by Hacks and Ferments. That was a great one. I loved watching all 3 of those and making that video. It was a good time.
I don't know if I could pick a favorite. Honestly, I really don't.
You got
I know
you
why.
got to pick one. You got.
I know why you put all 3 of them. I don't know the maybe the Greg one, just because like seeing the life drain from his eyes. Like they just shouldn't have had a presser.
I apologize to the fan base. I apologize to the owner.
Yeah, like that's crazy. You got to get on your hands and knees after a result like that. Like, what do you even say? What do you even say in the locker room? I'm just like going home.
I was like, okay, so I was thinking about that. Like, what do you say in the locker room?
Yeah.
What I would say is like, guys, like it's one thing to lose a game. It's one thing to lose a game badly, but like if we're going out and giving up 7 goals, I'm not going to work here. Most of you aren't going to work here. Like that's the type of stuff that like
they gave up.
That gets players cut, that gets coaches fired. So like if you want to keep playing here, like figure out how to make that not happen. And I honestly don't even know like if I can, like that has to be internal. You know, like you guys have to decide to get out of that, because if we're giving up 7 goals, like all of our jobs are on the line, and that's just the reality.
It was almost
that's what I would tell him.
It was almost the most goals ever scored in an MLS match, right?
Yeah, Seattle scored 7 in 2020.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't count.
Those don't count. I mean, I know that we're always like, oh, every goal counts, but let's come on.
Anything
2020 season does not count.
All right, let's hit our winners and losers from match day 10 in MLS, and then get out of here.
Yeah, get out of here into the bonus episode, because you're going to become a YouTube member.
Exactly. Good plug. Vancouver Whitecaps. Goddamn.
They're the greatest team to ever exist, Ari. I have been so excited to talk about them this week. You lay down the match, but I'm just going to be sitting here rubbing my hands together in excitement.
Just more impressive stuff. They are up 2-0 on Inter Miami in the CCC semis, CCC semis right now. And they went to Minnesota coming off that game on the road with a rotated ass lineup.
Yep.
Not their first choice 11 at all because of CCC at Allianz Field, which is one of the most difficult places in the league to play against a Minnesota team that's been pretty good this year. They have not been bad at all. They're a pretty solid side, and this is the type of game where if Seattle was in this situation, I would be like, dude, a draw. Any type of draw is fine. And
lose the game.
And if
I
you
don't
lose,
care.
whatever, because you got CCC, I don't care about this at all. And I think that's how most MLS fans would feel in that situation.
Yeah.
The Whitecaps beat the brakes off them, man. 3-1. Wasn't even close. They didn't even look like they broke a sweat.
Nope.
Sebastian Burhalter scored an incredible goal.
Pedro Vite has turned into the greatest player to ever play soccer.
He is a top 5 to 10 player in the league right now.
Which is crazy because he's not been good.
With
he's grown into it. He's grown into his game.
He's been good before this, but he's not been elite like this.
Yeah,
like he is elite right now.
Yeah.
Burhalter is elite right now. Like that is
better than his father.
Better time in this game than Greg, head coach of the Chicago Fire, which that's a low bar. But in all seriousness, like he's become a star for them. Scottish Messi
won their game in Mexico in like the death.
That was Tristan Blackman.
Oh, it was?
But
I thought he
scored. Oh, no, he tied it.
He tied it. Yeah.
But like outside of the goals he's been scoring, he is like one of the best number 8s in the league.
He's fun to watch too.
He's fun to watch. He's scoring bangers.
Yeah.
So and Scottish Messi literally hasn't even been playing.
No.
So like
they might be better without him, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're at the point where it's not even like a there's no question of is this just a hot start? Are they actually this good? Like, no, this is the best team in the league right now.
Easily.
Like
way better than Inter Miami.
We'll see if they can close out Inter Miami.
I still think that they are a better team than Inter Miami.
As a unit. Yeah, they are.
Like Jasper Sorensen, however he's Danish or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce his
name. He must be the guru, man. Because
he's better than Wilfried Nancy. He's better than Wilfried Nancy.
That's a good. We should have had that in
my
agenda. Yeah.
Because when have you ever seen a Wilfried Nancy coach team play like this with the pieces that they have? Wilfried Nancy has always had way more talent than this. I'm sorry.
With the crew. The thing is, when he was with Montreal, he didn't.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
he
like
was
his Montreal teams were not like as good as this Whitecaps team.
Fair.
Like
Fair.
So,
But they also weren't in this position.
yeah, I mean, and like Sorensen must be the guru because they didn't make many moves this offseason.
No.
Their most notable move was Stuart Armstrong leaving.
Yeah.
That was their most notable
outgoing,
move.
yeah.
And Jasper Sorensen has them playing like the clear best team in the league. Like not even debatable.
Yeah.
And
I
think what you said is actually right. Like even if Inter Miami comes back and beats them, that will be on like star power. This Whitecaps squad is like a real team. They're a team.
Yeah.
And I wrote about this for Sound at Heart this week, actually, like lessons that we can take from Vancouver and Philly, because I think Philly's interesting to look at this year because they're bouncing back under Bradley Carnell. And it's like, oh man, they just moved on from their coach. They had a down year this year. Like, how are they this good again? It's because these clubs like this, that know what they're doing. It's that simple. They're well run. They know what they're looking for. They have identities. The Philly Union have become elite at youth development. The Whitecaps, not as much, but have had a lot of success in that area as well with when you think about like Alphonso Davies and stuff. So it's like infrastructure and culture, all that stuff affects winning more than we talk about. And you can look at the flip side of it too of Atlanta United, who we're going to talk about, and Toronto FC, who spend way more than Philly and Vancouver, but they're not real teams.
Yeah.
They're not real teams.
No.
The Whitecaps are a real team.
I'm officially ready to make my This Is a X podcast pick for the 2025 season, Ari. And this one will be even more controversial than the LA Galaxy one because the LA Galaxy are also technically Sounders. This is a Vancouver Whitecaps podcast because I'm sorry, this is giving me 2024 LA Galaxy vibes, right? They had specific needs and they addressed them, okay? They signed very few people, but they've been effective with those signings. They look unstoppable. They're playing well through MLS play. They're playing well in Champions Cup. And I'm going to even say it. I hope they win Champions Cup. I hope they beat the brakes off of Inter Miami. I hope they go on to win the whole thing. I don't even care. That would be amazing. And put them in Club World Cup instead of LAFC or Club America. That's my take.
Yeah. It's wild, man. It's wild to watch. FC Dallas beat Inter Miami 4-3. That was a crazy game. Inter Miami was up 3-1. They're rotating for Champions Cup as well.
Cowards.
And they were up 3-1 and allowed FC Dallas
Geriatric
to
FC
come back. But
Pedrinho's goal was nice.
I thought there's an interesting point that you hit on, which is, you know, how well Vancouver are performing in both league play and CCC, and how Inter Miami have managed to do that as well. Inter Miami, I still put in like a cheating category. You know, it's just not something that a normal MLS team can look at and emulate. Or sign Messi isn't like a strategy that you can look at and co-opt for yourself
and get every single Argentinian young player for free.
But what Vancouver are doing, they're kind of showing that the whole CCC has to tank you in the league thing. Maybe that's not the case as much as it used to be, because they're crushing it in both. And Inter Miami have been before they lost to Vancouver in the first leg. But I think that's interesting. And also just, you know, this means nothing for Inter Miami really, because it wasn't like it was Messi and the Barca boys out there for this game. And honestly, it's kind of encouraging for Inter Miami that they played their depth lineup and they still bammed 3 goals. This freaking 18-year-old kid from Ecuador that they signed, who's like the most highly rated Ecuadorian in the world or whatever.
Of course.
He like this was his like second MLS game and he scored. So that's like a good sign for them, even though their defense ended up cratering and they lost the game. But it has been interesting to look at like how they've performed. Both of those clubs have performed in league play with CCC going compared to how MLS teams usually fare in that situation. Like maybe that's a thing, not less of a thing now.
Caps are on 2.3 points per game.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it's not.
And playing and still in Champions Cup.
And it's not like fluky or unsustainable. Like,
no,
they are like that.
They've played.
They are like that.
They're playing Inter Miami. They're playing They bammed on Austin, who's looked good. We don't need to get into it. This is a Vancouver Whitecaps podcast.
And then my last winner, we already talked about it, but Nashville SC. I think anytime you drop a 7 spot,
Yeah, gotta be in the winner spot.
You got to be. And like Seattle slammed that team, and people were doing the it doesn't count stuff.
Yep.
And they look pretty good. I don't care that it was the Chicago Fire. Anytime you score 7 goals like that, that's not easy to do against even the worst of MLS.
Usually
clubs.
teams don't just give up. Like, you know what I mean? People have a little bit of morals.
Speaking of that, let's talk about Atlanta United because they're my first pick for the losers segment. I was talking to Nico about this on Monday as well, but it is like such a it's a storyline that I'm paying a lot of attention to right now because outside of the fact that I made my pick, I picked them as like my favorite offseason, and that take isn't looking good, which I'm perfectly fine to take that out because I love Atlanta United Schadenfreude.
Yeah, it's
like,
great.
It's great. Like when they're this bad,
and when they're upset at us, even better.
No, it's funny for me. But every year I expect them to. This is going to be the year. We're another year removed or more time removed from the Boca era. This is Garth and Chris Henderson's team now. They have such a track record of success. I have no doubt in my mind that track record and their soccer minds combined with Atlanta United's resources and infrastructure. How could it go wrong? How could it go wrong? No, I can't figure this out. Like how it's like, do you even realize how bad it is?
I do realize how bad it is.
It's so bad. Like they lost so not only have they lost their last 2 games, both 3-0. There were reports that two of their starting midfielders got in like a physical altercation at practice. So there's like discord in the locker room, seemingly. Ronnie Dylas like snapping at reporters and really by the day looking like a more and more questionable hire. He got hired purely basically based on him. He had some success at his previous stops, but he won an MLS Cup with NYCFC where I was like, okay, at the time they hired him, I was like, all right, MLS Cup winning coach, proven winner. But looking back on it now, I'm like, all right, that NYCFC team was solid, but not that good. They just got blazing hot at the end of the season and in the playoffs. Was Ronnie Dyla really cooking that hard? Because so far, like whatever he's trying is not only not working, it's like actively backfiring. It's bad. And like their fan bases are questioning the effort of the players, how much they care about playing for the team. The culture of the whole organization is getting called into question. Dyla, it is not too early to say, like he's literally already on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Garth Lagerwey fired Gonzo Pineda because the pace that they needed to keep to reach their goals became like impossible. They would have had to average like 2.8 points per game to get a home playoff spot, which was the benchmark they set out. And so he used that as the rationale to like fire Gonzo. We're 10 games into the season and Dyla's already mathematically approaching the same situation.
Yeah.
They would need to average over 2 points per game at this point to get to what Garth set as their goal before the season, which is the same rationale he used for firing Gonzo. So like, have we seen anything to suggest that they're going to suddenly become a 2.3 points per game team like the freaking Whitecaps?
No way. No, and let's not.
So he's on the hot seat.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Gonzo had less of a hand to play. They invested a shitload of money in this roster after he left.
$30 million this offseason between Emmanuel Latte-Loth, who broke the MLS transfer record, and Miguel Almiron, who I called the best move any team made all offseason. And that one in particular, like Latte-Loth is at least scoring.
We both liked the idea of bringing him back, though.
Yeah, exactly. Like it seemed like it made perfect sense. Latte-Loth is at least scoring goals. Almiron, he looks frustrated. His body language is super bad. He's not producing. The homecoming is like totally soured. That is not worked at all.
Yeah.
So like, where do you start? Who do you blame?
Well, and also like, I'm sorry, but when Latte-Loth has 5 goals.
Yeah.
You know who else has 5 goals? Pretty sure. Does Jordan Morris have 5?
No.
No, he has 3. He has 3.
Moose has
3.
4 all comps.
4 all comps. When you are 1 all comp from Daniel Musovsky and you were signed for 30 milli, listen, money doesn't always
And you're not
bring you
even
happiness,
you're not
buddy.
even digging Moose with that. Like it's
Pure
it's
numbers
the-
game. Pure numbers game.
Well, production, but like salary.
That's what I'm saying.
What
Pure
is-
numbers
yeah,
game.
Like what is Moose making? Like $400K?
If that.
They paid $22 million for the worst start in club history. 30 million when you add the Almiron tag in.
This really is the perfect example of in Major League Soccer, money doesn't buy happiness.
This is what I wrote about.
Yeah, money doesn't always buy happiness. Sometimes it's about figuring it out. And something we're going to talk about in the post show, is Garth a fraud?
I like that topic.
So we'll talk about that in the post show.
Chicago. I put Chicago Fire
Yeah,
for the
they're-
exact
yeah,
inverse reason,
yeah.
so they're in there. And then San Diego FC. They're like close to fraud watch. Lost 3-1 to Real Salt Lake at home.
What does that make us though?
Well, I mean, at the time that the Seattle game happened, they were on absolute fire.
Well, Atlanta is on fraud watch. Atlanta is fraud.
They're not even on watch, man. They've been
fraud.
They've been frauds.
Yeah.
But San Diego FC, they had that phenomenal start. You can't take that away from them. They looked really good. They've come back down to earth a little bit. 3-1 to RSL at home. Diego Luna scored a really sick goal on them. But just in general, these last few weeks, they have not looked like the high-flying San Diego that we saw at the start of the season. And they get the last selection for the losers section of the week.
And I'm pro Diego Luna, so that's
This is a
even
pro
more,
Diego
though.
Luna podcast.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna.
He worked at a coffee shop, folks. How can you be mad at the guy?
That's a good point. We're going to call it right there for this episode. We went along on this one, but there was a lot of good stuff,
Yeah.
and we had to get in the triple coach presser. So
Listen, it's not our fault. We want to give you content, you know?
thank you all, as always, so much for tuning in. We really appreciate the support and growth that we've seen over these last few months. Like the video if you're watching on YouTube, and sub to our YouTube. If you haven't done that, I don't know what you're
Sub to
doing.
all platforms.
Sub to
iTunes, Spotify.
Oh yeah, hit our
Whatever.
IG. We passed 400 on IG, which is an exciting milestone for me as we build towards credibility on Instagram.
One more Sounder at Heart member. If you were like, wow, they really just went 2 hours for us, sounderatheart.com/LS. Subscribe and support. Become a member. You can do it as low as like $3 or $4 a month. Like,
And
it's
become a
not big
YouTube
commitment.
member to get
See what we're
access to
about to
our
talk about,
bonus
yeah.
content.
Yeah.
All right. We'll catch you next time. Until then, we out.
Peace.